Carmelo, Kenyon Martin, and Nene, who has been phenomenal so far in this series up front. For the Mavericks, Jason Kidd and Antoine Wright in the backcourt. Less than 100%, but in the starting lineup is Josh Howard. Dirk Nowitzki, 63 points in the first two games, and Eric Dampier in the middle. Dirk has had to work very hard for his shots. He has seen multiple defenders in the first two games. The Mavericks are playing a healthy, athletic, confident group of Denver Nuggets. Kenyon Martin barking at Chauncey Billups as Billups brings him into the front court. Offensive rebound and a fresh 24 right off the bat. Billups misses a three, and it's Mavericks ball. Rick Carlisle said if we've got to fix two things, it's defense and rebounding, and they gave up an offensive board on the first trip down. Nowitzki off to Dampier, stumbling, saves it. Antoine Wright will miss badly on the three. Said he got hit on the elbow. Nowitzki with the high arcing jumper, and Dallas strikes first.
That's a good start. I mean, obviously you're going to wonder what kind of impact the off-the-court issues would have on Dirk Nowitzki to start this game. But this guy can flat out play. 7 feet, a unique combination of skills.
And we could see in the interview we did with him before the game, getting on the court, really a good thing for him to get away from all the distractions and try just to think about basketball for a couple of hours.
I think for most of these guys, the place where you're most comfortable and confident in life is right there. Go ahead, Dirk.
Saw he had Carmelo Anthony on him and took advantage of the smaller defender. Nowitzki with 28 points, 9 rebounds in game one, 35 points, 10 rebounds in game two. Nice backdoor feed. And we've got a 3-second call.
Dirk Nowitzki always had the perimeter jump shot when he came into this league. Remember, they used to call him Irk for no D, but it didn't matter because the guy could flat out score the basketball, and his 7 feet is handled. Go ahead, guard me small. I'm going to take you right to the rack and score it.
26 points per game during the regular season, and off to a great start here this afternoon. In a virtual must-win game for the Mavericks, no team in NBA history has ever come back from 3-0 down to win a series. Kenyon Martin is called for the foul.
I think in watching the first two games, the thing that really stuck out to me about Denver was how much activity they had around the rim. It felt like for George Karl's team, everything that happened was right around that orange tin. And if you're Dallas, that's a dangerous thing.
Dallas knows they can't compete with Denver in terms of athleticism. Denver dominant in points in the paint, fast break points, and so forth. That is a great early sign for the Mavericks. Josh Howard not only in the lineup, but taking the ball to the goal.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that really needs to get some easy opportunities. And because of those ankles in the first couple of games, it looked like Howard just wanted to shoot jump shots. That's where he's dangerous, when he mixes those two things.
Good start by the Mavericks. Has the crowd in it early as well. Nene is blocked from behind. Dallas in transition. Jason Kidd wide open for three. And the rebound to Carmelo Anthony. This is one of the better home court advantages in the NBA. Always sold out. Good loud crowd as Anthony is fouled. And a good start by the Mavericks has really upped the volume here in this building.
I think the expectation if you were Denver, where you're going to have a very angry team that would try to put some hurt on you early. I mean, I think if you're Dallas, you've got to get some confidence, some mojo back, and believe that you can beat Denver.
There's Carmelo Anthony. You saw his numbers so far in this series, and he's been particularly good, as the Nuggets have as a whole, in fourth quarters so far in this series. George Karl, better than 900 career wins, and he was just as relaxed and easy to talk to as he always is. Doesn't seem to matter whether it's a regular season game or a playoff game. He walked in with a smile on his face when we got a chance to sit down with him about an hour ago. Dampier with a smaller defender on him now, and Anthony. And has it stripped. Denver has really stepped up the defense this year, as Nene misses the baseline jumper.
Yeah, much better. I think much more committed. It really starts with training camp, according to George Karl. They just committed to defensive drills. Not things that are necessarily fun to do as a player, but are necessary.
The word he used was tedious, and he admits it was tedious, but it has helped him. Didn't help him on that trip. Antoine Wright with a jumper, 8-2 Mavericks. Denver still looking for its first field goal. Their only points came to the line from Carmelo Anthony.
They've got 28 points from the free throw line in this series. They have been really effective getting inside, getting easy opportunities.
Martin driving, knocked out of bounds by Nowitzki. Denver ball with a 9 to shoot. Let's listen in. George Karl talking before the game about the Denver D.
And it all starts with a hard-nosed defense, gentlemen. Get after them, get into them. They don't like you covering them.
Let's go, baby.
Let's play defense, gentlemen. Defense on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Dante Jones with a jam to make it 8-4. When you think Denver, you don't necessarily think defense right off the bat. But ask the Dallas Mavericks about the first 2 games. Denver has not only played well defensively, Doris, they have played tough and hard defensively as well.
Go ask Chris Paul how the defense in Denver was.
Wright misses the 3, and back come the Nuggets down by 4. Chauncey Billups with a quick 3. And the rebound to Howard. And Howard looking pretty spry right now for a guy playing on 2 bad ankles. Driving on Nene. No foul, no basket. Play on. Here come the Nuggets in transition, and Carmelo Anthony is fouled. Now Rick Carlisle, Doris, has to be thrilled. He's going to throw Josh Howard out there. Says he hopes to get 30-plus minutes out of him, but they really don't know.
Yeah, I think the last couple of days clearly have had an impact on Josh because his ability to attack the rim, at least in this first period. Now, you hope he doesn't land on somebody's foot or come down awkwardly as he drives to the rim. But thus far, those ankles look pretty good.
A big gap between Game 2 and today's Game 3. Game 2 was on Tuesday, so they had 3 full days off. Josh Howard didn't practice, rode the stationary bike, got some treatment.
He was the guy that made the difference in the San Antonio series.
Yeah. Carlisle referring to Howard as the MVP for Dallas in that series. Carlisle, of course, previous experience with Detroit and Indiana, took each team to a conference final.
He was a lot more relaxed a year ago at this time. Yeah. He was doing what we're doing. It's easy over here. Those guys have a little bit of pressure.
2-point lead for the Mavericks early in this one as Kidd brings Dallas into the front court. 2 great competitors at the point in Jason Kidd and Chauncey Billups. Kidd has struggled, especially in Game 1 of this series, as he committed 8 turnovers, 8 of the 20 turnovers that Dallas had in Game 1.
Yeah, you are talking about one of the most accomplished players at the lead guard position this league has ever seen. And he has always done it, Dan, without blazing speed. And this guy just has a knack, a feel, great vision.
The foul on Billups is first. Dirk Nowitzki misses the jumper. Nobody near the glass for the Mavericks. This is a good matchup right here. Carmelo Anthony and Josh Howard. One of the other reasons why Howard is so important to the Dallas cause. Great job by Anthony to stay after it, but he can't finish it. Numbers now for Dallas. Howard off balance, it goes.
Yeah, you're talking about 2 teams that like to get out and transition. Which team will be more effective as this game wears on? Well, Jason Kidd, if the ball's in his hands in the open floor, folks, look out, because that's about as good a place as it can be. And Josh finishing. I mean, if you're Rick Carlisle over there, you're just wiping a little sweat off your brow going, thank goodness.
George Karl did not like that foul call. Thought that Dante Jones backed out of the way on the play. Howard completes the 3-point play. Josh Howard, one of the great first quarter scorers in the NBA. When he is right, he gets off to a terrific start, and that's the case here today.
Yeah, that's in first half as well. I mean, late game, they go to Terry and to Dirk.
Denver, meanwhile, Doris, 1 out of 11 from the floor so far. And I think Howard just got called for a personal, got caught in a mismatch with Nene. First on Howard. And you can see tempers are a little short early. Kenyon Martin's talking to the officials. George Karl, Josh Howard. A lot of people working those vocal cords early here today.
Bumping their gums, I think, is how Mark Jones might refer to it.
Carmelo in the post. And it's going to be another Dallas foul. If it's Howard, he quickly has picked up 2, and it is 2 quick fouls on Josh Howard. Rick Carlisle saying he was straight up and down. Ken Maurer disagrees.
Well, this is big. One, you wonder if he takes him out. He has made a move, so he's going to sub him out. And there's a couple things here. Obviously, the skills he brings, but then do those ankles tighten up, Dan? You know, when you go to the bench and you're not moving and active and warm.
So Howard will have to sit down. Take another look.
Now Carmelo with inside-out skills, and he rakes him over the arm as he initially gets into the move. I think it's a good call.
Yeah. So it was 11-6, and Howard was a big factor early. He had 5 of the early points. He has 5 of the early points for the Mavericks. He sits down. Jason Terry comes in. Obviously a great offensive player, 6th man of the year in the NBA, but a smaller lineup right now for Dallas. So somebody's going to have a mismatch against Carmelo Anthony.
These teams are intriguing, you know, and despite the disparity in 2-0 for Denver, games were close going into the 4th period. It was untimely turnovers that hurt Dallas.
Terry into the game, blocked from behind. Dante Jones got him. Jones not a big. Nowitzki with Chauncey Billups on him right now. Carmelo comes over to help. 5 to shoot. Right in the post, and we got a 3-second call against the Mavericks. They did not take advantage of a mismatch on that time down the floor.
Now, off the dribble drive, Dante Jones from behind. Just because you get beat off the bounce, don't give up on the play. Use your length, athleticism. He does a nice job keeping space so there's no body contact.
Now Nene, who has scored 49 points in the first 2 games of this series, off to Dante Jones, who finishes right in the grill of Eric Dampier.
Wow, that's part of the problem. I mean, the athleticism of Denver has been an issue for Dallas.
Knocked out of bounds by Nene. They are athletic at just about every single position on the floor. Nene can get up and down the floor. Dante Jones, Kenyon Martin playing over the rim. J.R. Smith off the bench. Timeout on the floor, and an early promising start for Dallas is slowly evaporating here, Doris. The Nuggets are back within 1.
But Dante Jones makes a play defensively on one end and then gets right in their face on the offensive end. Take that, Eric Dampier. I don't care how big you are, I'm coming right to your chest. And Denver, early on, yes, the bench enjoying it. Birdman not in yet, but his energy's alive and well.
Resident Nancy Lieberman, who's been following the big local story concerning Dirk Nowitzki. Nancy?
Well, thanks, Dan. It has been a crazy week in Dallas. As Doris alluded to, Dirk Nowitzki's girlfriend was arrested on Wednesday at his home. Multiple Maverick sources, they coarsened Dirk about his relationship with Crystal Taylor. That prompted Dirk's team of legal advisors to hire private investigators to research Taylor's background. She's been linked to as many as 15 aliases and had existing warrants out in Texas and Missouri, according to the Dallas police. When Dirk was pressed on this, he said no comment. The other day, he did say it's pretty obvious. I'm going through a very tough time in my personal life. I would like to keep it private. Not the best of weeks for the folks in Dallas. Dan?
Nancy, thank you. Dirk told us he would have wished that they could have played yesterday or even the day before instead of the long layoff, so it could have been less about his personal life and more about basketball. Jason Kidd with a long 2.
Good job out of the timeout. And one thing you have to take away from Jason Kidd, those spot-up threes. I mean, the guy's a sensational shooter when you give him time.
Baseline drive, Carmelo Anthony. Dirk Nowitzki came over and bothered the shot.
Denver just 2 of 13, so Dallas clearly a better job defensively contesting shots.
Dampier won't take it. What a cut by Dirk Nowitzki as he lays it in with the left hand. Good find by Eric Dampier, and the Dallas lead is back to 5. Nene. Just too quick for Dampier. Spun beautifully, but he missed the shot. Again, Nene with 49 points in the first 2 games, and he just caused that turnover.
It's been a hard matchup. I think Nene a lot quicker than Eric Dampier. Now he's got Dirk on him.
He'll shoot over Dirk, and the shot's not falling early for Nene.
He's 0 for 4 to start. Those are 2 pretty good looks. I thought his move to the rim on the prior possession was just a little bit quicker.
Kidd with an air ball. It'll be Denver ball. Carlisle saying that shot must have been tipped. He's saying should have been Dallas ball. Dallas so good at home late in the season as J.R. Smith checks in off the Denver bench. And guys like J.R. Smith, Anthony Carter have been terrific in this series. Of course, the Birdman, Chris Anderson, will anxiously await the reaction he gets from the Dallas fans when he checks in. These are two very good benches, but especially in game one, the Denver bench was extraordinary.
J.R. Smith, who can light you up from deep, get out in the open floor and make threes.
And it'll be off Chauncey Billups, back to the Mavericks.
You were just saying, and this is an important point for Dallas today. You want to build on that confidence you have here at home. 17-1 here in this building since the All-Star break.
The one loss to the Denver Nuggets. No Jason Kidd in that game for Dallas. No Nene in that game for Denver. So neither coach made that big of a deal about it. Kidd follows up the miss. Brandon Abbas is checked into the game now for the Mavericks. Dirk Nowitzki's gone to the bench. Vampire over Kenyon Martin. No. Look at Kidd battling for it, and Dallas will retain possession as one of the key figures in the series enters now for the first time. Chris Anderson, the Birdman. Seems like a slightly different reaction for him here than he gets in Denver.
It'll be interesting to see how effective he is. In game 3 on the road at New Orleans, he was a non-factor. He's an energy guy. He acknowledges, I get energized from the crowd at home. What does he do here?
That's 6 blocks in game 1, and he's averaged over 26 minutes a game in the first 2 games of this series. Brandon Bass. Followed by Dampier. Rebound Anderson.
Melo, Nene, Billups combined 0 for 11. They got to find some offense from somewhere.
Yet they're only down 5. 3.5 to go here in the first quarter. Carmelo with Antoine Wright on him right now. Lost it. Anderson off balance, draws the foul.
Yeah, Denver's 6 for 6 from the free throw line. All 6 coming from Melo. And Birdman will have his opportunity now. So they're staying in this ball game based on their ability to get to the free throw line.
Texas guy, attended junior college in Texas, spent much of his youth here, played in China, played in various minor leagues, the 2-year suspension for substance abuse. But he has come back, and George Karl said to us before the game, hey, I didn't know what I was going to get out of him. 10 or 15 minutes, he said, but his basketball IQ is so high. He's so coachable. He's got such good karma. He's overcome so much. George Karl couldn't stop praising Chris Anderson.
Well, I don't know how you can't rejoice when a guy who gets a second opportunity and makes the most of it. And there's not any one of us who doesn't like a reclamation project. And Chauncey Billups said, listen, if you ask my daughters who their favorite player on the Nuggets is, it's Chris Anderson.
He's become a folk hero in Denver. And Kenyon Martin called for the foul. That'll be number 2 on him. He's not happy. He's keeping his calm, and he's heading right to the bench. And George Karl said, no. Stay in the game till I take you out, Kenyon. So Kenyon Martin turns around and stays in. And some trust there in George Karl to keep a veteran on the floor with 2 early fouls. Now he's going to take him out.
He thought better of it. See, Kenyon got himself composed. George took a minute to settle down.
So that's George's idea. Now Linus Klase will come in, and a frustrated Kenyon Martin. He did not like either of the foul calls. On the NBA calendar tonight on ABC, it's Game 3, Cleveland at Atlanta. ABC tomorrow afternoon has the Lakers at Houston, 2-1 Lakers in that series. TNT tomorrow night, Boston at Orlando in Game 4 of that series with the Magic at home and up 2-1 on the defending champs. Kidd inside, retains possession. Shot clock at 3. Tough corner jumper not there. And back come the Nuggets. J.R. Smith, cross-court pass. Another miss. Denver can't buy one from the field. That last Dallas shot was taken by Gerald Green. Young, athletic, talented player getting some minutes, in part because of the early foul trouble for Josh Howard. We'll step aside in a low-scoring affair here in Dallas. It's the Mavericks leading the Nuggets by, presented by Gatorade. And the Birdman, Chris Anderson, Doris, been getting a lot of the cooler talk. Does he remind you of anybody?
The flamboyant Dennis Rodman. You remember him with multiple teams. He's got the unique hairstyle. An interesting cat, shall we say.
And Chris Andersen with some similarities. He'll rebound, he'll block shots. He thinks about defense first. He's got a few tattoos like Dennis Rodman does. Plays with great energy like Dennis Rodman did. Lots of hairstyles like Dennis Rodman has. And Chris Andersen, as mentioned, everybody calls him the Birdman. I mean, his jerseys are selling like crazy out in Denver. And he's a guy who's turned his life around, overcome some substance abuse issues. Said he wanted to go back to Denver, signed for the minimum, could have signed anywhere. Denver was the place he wanted to go. Remember the Marcus Camby deal to the Clippers? So that left an opening up front. And he wasn't always the Birdman. That's a different looking Birdman 8 years ago.
That's a lot of hair product right there. Could keep somebody in business. I like his energy. I like how hard he plays. Right? You lose an opportunity, Dan, and you live the NBA lifestyle for a while, and then you give that up. And then you understand it. Maybe you appreciate it a little bit more, and you work that much harder. But I don't know that anyone could have predicted the impact he's had on this team this year.
Ryan Hollins in off the Dallas bench and immediately picks up a foul. Well, Denver right now is just 2 for 16 from the floor, and some of their big scorers have yet to make a shot from the floor, though Carmelo Anthony has gotten to the line, so they need somebody to step in. But if you're 2 for 16 and you're only down 6, you got to feel pretty good right now.
I was just thinking that. I mean, which coach is more concerned by those numbers? If you're George Karl, you know that those guys are eventually going to get started. If you're Rick Carlisle and you've only got a 6-point edge, knowing that they've started the quarter that poorly, I'm not very comfortable.
And he doesn't look very comfortable right now, even with a 5-point lead, as J.R. Smith knocks down the first free throw. Smith, the runner-up to Dallas's Jason Terry for the NBA's 6th Man of the Year. He struggled in Game 1 and in the first round series, knocking down his free throws. He's been real hot and cold from the line so far in the playoffs. Kidd using the screen from Hollins. The floater from Jason Kidd. Tapped out to Billups. He's got Smith on the wing. Good recovery by Dallas to slow down the Nuggets. That's one of the keys for the Mavericks. Carmelo another miss. Hollins the rebound. Dallas pushing. Here comes Terry. The jet going to work. Lost it on the way up. We have not had a field goal either way in 3.5 minutes until that moment. Great spinning move on the inside by Carmelo.
That could have been a lot easier. J.R. Smith missed Carmelo, who was cherry picking a little bit, didn't get back. He ended up making a terrific shot.
Terry with Anderson on him finds Hollins. And there is Chris Andersen doing what he does best.
I'll tell you what, there's been several possessions on the defensive end for Denver where their commitment to defense for the full 24-second clock is something you hadn't seen prior to this year. And this guy's commitment, along with Chauncey's and Carmelo's renewed enthusiasm for that side of the ball, has been huge, huge part of Denver's success.
Billups out. Anthony Carter in at the point right now for Denver. And Rick Carlisle will make a move of his own as the very popular J.J. Barea checks in for the first time. Jason Kidd will sit down. And J.R. Smith right away is just woofing with J.J. Barea. J.R. Smith likes to get animated and involved out there. Terry with 7 on the shot clock, left it way short. Denver ball. The Mavericks have missed their last 8 shots. So it's Smith, Carter, Anderson, Kleza, and Anthony for Denver right now. Bass, Hollins, Gerald Green, Jason Terry, and J.J. Barea for the Mavericks. Tipped up and in by the Birdman.
So what do you see? The 2 guys who come off the bench, and right away your activity is right at the rim. Smith gets off the bounce. It allows Birdman to get open for offensive rebounding position. That activity around the rim is what's helped Denver.
Barea spinning. Great feed, and Hollins is fouled. All set up by the penetration of J.J. Barea.
How tall you think he really is?
I'm going 5'8". He's listed at 6 feet. What do you think?
No way.
Not
I meant to
even
get
close.
next to him before the game just to get a feel. But the dribble drive, I mean, I like his activity and his toughness. You're that size, you better have a little bit of heart.
Well, Jason Terry's 6'2". And there's a whole lot more than a 2-inch difference between Jason Terry and J.J. Barea. Jones, good energy guy off the bench for the Mavericks. Again, rebounding, defending, blocking shots, not really looked upon to score as Dirk Nowitzki comes back in. Tweet, retweet, at reply. What does it all mean? The NBA is on Twitter. Get real-time stats, scores, and insider access from the NBA playoffs at twitter.com/NBA. Good spin by Carmelo into the double team, and the follow by Anderson again. Some guy behind us in the stands just yelled lucky. I didn't see that quite that way. There was no luck involved in that whatsoever.
I'll tell you what, offensive rebounding is understanding where the ball's coming off the rim and then effort and energy. You just saw that in Anderson.
If our stats monitor is correct, and there's no reason to think it's not, he's got 5 points and 5 rebounds in 4 minutes. Soft touch for Dirk.
Not a bad answer. You had just said they missed what? Their last 8 shots. So come back with Dirk. He'll make one for you.
Denver can hold for the final shot of the quarter. Smith, nice feed. Anderson up and under, and the follow for Carmelo. Denver crushing Dallas on the offensive glass.
So a disastrous start to the game offensively. Nene, who'd been dominating, gives you nothing, and you're even up on the road.
Chris Anderson gave them a spark, as he always does. The Birdman soaring into the game midway through the first quarter and getting involved right away. Following up misses, tipping them in, and then going even stronger on the next miss to slam it home. The Denver Nuggets, who shot so poorly, had some foul trouble, have come back and forced their way into a tie at the end of the first quarter here in Dallas.
Welcome back to Dallas. George, your inside game the first 2 games of this series was very dominant, over 50 points a game. It started slow today. How did you reestablish it?
Well, I'm just really happy to be back and even, because I thought they came out with a punch. They were really energized. I thought they got to the rim a little bit too much against our defense. Then we rebounded the ball great in the last 3 or 4 minutes to tie the game. So I'm happy where we're at right now.
With Dirk's ability to go inside out, what do you feel is the most important part of his offense to take away?
Well, I just think you got to make every shot he takes a tough one and keep him away from the easy ones, especially the layups. And I think we got 3 defenders that will mix it up, find one, hopefully it'll work.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Dan?
All right, Nancy, thank you. One of those guys is Chris Anderson, who has given the Nuggets such a lift. One of the stats George Karl says he pays attention to, one of the few stats he says he really pays attention to, is plus minus, the difference between how many points his team scores versus the opponent when each individual player is on the floor. Easy to track that kind of a thing. And Chris Anderson, got a technical foul here. Chris Anderson is plus 26 so far in the first 2 games of this series. And as you can see, he's second only to Chauncey Billups in plus minus in the playoffs. Now, it's not the kind of stat that you can just say that makes him the second best player on the team, but it is an important stat. It's one that George Karl pays attention to, and if it factors into a player's playing time, which George Karl says it could, then it is an important stat for the Denver Nuggets.
He said the only other one he really pays attention to is field goal percentage for his team versus the other one, and the differential there. And so, you know, it's the energy, it's the activity, it's all the positives that he brings that has an impact on the guys around him. How hard he plays has an impact.
Raymond Bass playing hard, surrounded by Nuggets, can't finish, and Anderson brings down the rebound, already his 6th.
See, to me in the past, that's a play Denver might have conceded. They were, you know, they might have given up that kind of opportunity. Now there's a different mindset.
Dennis plays it too strong. Josh Howard back into the game after 2 fouls sent him to the bench midway through the first. Barea to Terry for 3.
Johnson this morning on ESPN talking about the fact that if Dirk didn't get 40, they were going to need some support from players around Dirk on the offensive end. If Josh Howard is going to be limited, then obviously you think of the Jet, Jason Terry.
Carmelo resets in the post, trying to back down Howard. And Jason Terry is called for the foul. A defensive 3, excuse me. A defensive 3-second call, so a technical foul, and Carmelo will go to the line. Carmelo already 6 for 6 from the line here in this game as Eric Dampier gets set to check back in. So Josh Howard with a big job trying to defend Carmelo Anthony, and as we've mentioned, on 2 bad ankles, and we've already seen some trouble today.
You wonder about, if he's going to land funny, he kind of tweaks one. Remember, there's 2 bad ankles. The left one's going to require surgery after the season. He hurt the right one early in this series. He lands awkwardly. Let's watch here as this period progresses. How effective is he?
Anderson drives and is fouled by Dirk Nowitzki. Josh Howard says the right ankle is more of the problem, or at least was coming into the game today. Both of them heavily taped. But again, if you weren't with us for the opening minutes, he drove to the bucket and scored early in this game. He looked terrific, just picked up 2 quick fouls and then went to the bench. Anthony Carter. Rebound Howard. Dirk driving on Anderson and Nene and draws the foul. Dirk hits the deck as he has so often already in this series. The foul is on Anderson, his first.
Well, everybody is going to be physical with Dirk Nowitzki. And this is a prolific scorer. You try to make every shot tough, and it is the playoffs. Somewhere Jeff Van Gundy is rejoicing because that's old school playoff foul.
And Dirk got up with a bit of a grimace and flexed his left knee or his left leg up and down a couple of times, so maybe a little bit stung by that foul. Remember the hard foul committed by Kenyon Martin in game 1 of this series, something Dirk Nowitzki said was just a good hard playoff foul. Martin was assessed a flagrant 1. Chauncey Billups back into the game, so a 2-point guard look. Now for the Nuggets.
You've got 18 fouls essentially to give with those 3 interior defenders of Denver. You want Nene to get 4 or 5, Birdman to get 4 or 5. Dirk will feel it. It'll be a football Sunday for Dirk tomorrow.
Game 4 here on a Monday night. Nuggets up 2-0 in the series. Good feed from Smith. Nene the extra pass. Carter the open jumper. And another putback. This time it's J.R. Smith.
It's really no mystery, and this has been a continuing theme in this series. Second chance opportunities, points in the paint. This is not a post-up opportunity domination in the box. This is just effort and energy by Denver.
Terry from the elbow with the answer for the Mavericks. Nene drawing the double team. Barea coming over to help. Anderson cuts, bounce pass to Carter, and a foul. They are sharing the ball very nicely.
Nene actually gave Birdman a head signal. He kind of triggered him to go down the lane, and again, extra passing. And he's acknowledging, hey, thanks. I appreciate you telling me to make that cut.
Anthony Carter with the line and misses the free throw. Carter, 10th-year player out of the University of Hawaii, has had some big games already in this series. Had 12 points and 4 assists in game 1. And then 4 more assists without a turnover in game 2. So great support and relief, or sometimes alongside Chauncey Billups.
82-game schedule, the grind that it is, as physically demanding as the playoffs are. You better have some reserves who can come in and spell your starters.
2 good benches led by the likes of Jason Terry for Dallas and J.R. Smith for Denver. Howard can't get the shot off. Carter got in there and thought it went off Howard out of bounds, but he is called for the foul. Number 2 on Anthony Carter. Shot clock reset to 14. The Nuggets winning game 1 by 14, game 2 by a dozen each time, really getting away from the Mavericks in the fourth quarter. Terry with a long jumper. Long rebound to Carter. This is where Denver thrives. Dallas gets back and slows him down. Phillips cut off on the baseline. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Chauncey gets inside and lofts it up and in.
So physically strong. Remember, when he was in Detroit, they'd wait and post him up late fourth quarter games, and he'd take over with his strength and his ability to go back to the basket.
Dirk on the drive and draws another foul. Will step aside. Anderson and Nowitzki getting after it here in the Big D. The Denver Nuggets. More NBA action coming your way. ABC is your destination for the NBA playoffs beginning tonight at 8 Eastern. Game 3 is LeBron and the Cavs take on the Atlanta Hawks. And then tomorrow afternoon, it's game 4 between the Lakers and the Rockets. The Lakers up 2-1. Coverage begins at 3 Eastern with the GMC NBA Countdown. Carmelo Anthony and Chris Anderson talking some strategy during the timeout. Let's take a look now at our HP in touch. A look at the brackets as they currently exist. The Lakers getting that big road win at Houston. Another big game for Kobe. They go up 2-1. Denver up 2-0. They've only lost one game in the playoffs so far. The next games, as we mentioned, Cleveland, Atlanta tonight. Lakers, Houston tomorrow. Tomorrow night on TNT, it'll be Orlando and Boston. The Celtics are trailing 2-1.
They look tired. They come off that grueling series, one of the all-time great series in NBA history in the first round against Chicago. And I think a lot of people around the league would like to see the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Denver Nuggets feel a little bit of heat, feel some pressure. Neither team has had to face any adversity yet.
Well, Cleveland hasn't lost a single game. Denver lost once. They lost game 3 against New Orleans. The same kind of situation they're in now. Up 2-0, go on the road. And all the Nuggets did was bounce back at game 4 and beat New Orleans on the road by 58 points. A historic playoff game. So the Nuggets, they didn't get messed up at all by the fact that they lost a game in the first round. But they're trying not to let Dallas up off the mat here in round 2.
No, they were not a great road team. 21-20 was Denver on the road this season. And in games decided by 12 points or 6 points or less, they were not stellar either. 12-10 in those games.
Nene is fouled by Dampier. And you can see the difference in the quickness between the two men on each and every possession. That's number 3 on Dampier. He's going to have to come out, and Ryan Hollins will come back in.
So you lose a guy who, over the course of his career in Dampier, has been a defender, a rebounder, going to give you great effort every night. And now you've got the untested Ryan Hollins, who's got to give you very solid minutes here. But the speed differential, both in Nene and in Birdman versus Dampier, it's been a major challenge.
Josh Howard trying to stay with J.R. Smith. Jason Kidd back in defending Chauncey Billups. Shot clock at 4. Billups on the drive, knocked away from behind, but a reach-in foul will go on Josh Howard, his 3rd. He only played about 5.5 minutes in the first quarter. Good minutes. Had some foul trouble, and now he's got to come out again.
He rakes his arm, and that's why Chauncey loses control. So we've questioned him twice, and the guys have got it right twice.
Antoine Wright takes over for Josh Howard. The Dallas being tested with Dampier and Howard both just picking up their 3rd foul. The line, Chauncey Billups, one of the great free throw shooters in the NBA, and a guy who in the postseason has been pretty much lights out from beyond the arc as well. He's making about 60% of his threes so far in the playoffs. Had 8 of them back in game 1 of the first round.
Yeah, Mr. Big Shot. That's not a bad nickname.
No. Steal by Carter. And Jason Terry grabbed him, and now as we look down to the other end of the floor, Antoine Wright was lying flat on his back, and official Ken Maurer was talking to Chris Anderson, and a foul called on Anderson. Not only is it Anderson's 3rd, but it cost Denver an easy 2 points. Anthony Carter still down at the other end of the floor saying, man, I had a breakaway layup coming to me.
Now the officials are going to confer. That is huge because it's the third personal foul on
Yep.
Chris Anderson, who's been sensational. The left-hand side of your screen there, folks, is where that action takes place. He barrels over the defender as he tries to come through the screen.
Wow.
He goes through him.
Yeah.
That wasn't quite as obvious as Darius Fisher, but then on the opposite side of that play, you see where Anthony Carter was about to have a layup.
Yeah. Dallas got a little lucky, too. Jason Terry grabbed Anthony Carter, but that one wasn't called.
Yeah.
So Anderson hops out after picking up his third foul. Kenyon Martin comes back in. Anderson, Josh Howard, and Eric Dampier each already with 3 fouls. Anderson only played 8 minutes, but he had 5 points and 6 rebounds.
And with the lack of productivity of Nene, who had dominated in the first 2 games, that becomes even more important.
Nene, with 49 points in the first 2 games, has not scored a point yet here today. Nowitzki baseline on Nene, underneath for the reverse.
And there's just so much in his arsenal. You know, what do you take away? It's a great question by Nancy. What do you concede, Coach? Is there anything you'd like to take away? Guy can shoot it with range. He can use either hand, can go in either direction.
He has drawn his share of criticism at times, but 28 points in game 1, 35 points in game 2, 14 points already here today in game 3.
He caused a bit of a furor with the guys on TNT, and it was an interesting thing as you see him go to work, driving baseline, gets a little up fake. But Charles Barkley, Chris Webber, and Kenny Smith all debated because he had given so much prop to some of the defenders for Denver. Birdman talking about his length and ability to contest shots, the strength of Nene, and so on and so forth. And we talked to him a little bit about it, Dan. It was an interesting reaction. I wondered if it was a cultural difference. You know, we've never heard a college player or an NBA player who's terrific on the offensive end concede anything to a defender. It's always, you know, I didn't have my rhythm. I just missed shots.
And when we asked him about it, he said simply, I'm a humble guy. And he said, if somebody plays well against me, I'll say they played well. But that, in his mind, didn't mean he was backing down. And again, with 28, 35, and 14 so far today, even though he's being defended by the likes of Nene, Kenyon Martin, and Chris Anderson, Dirk Nowitzki is certainly mixing it up. And Dirk Nowitzki's not the reason that Dallas is down 2 games to none. Jason Terry off the screen.
Just so good, giving him punch off the bench. A guy who's selfless. They told Rick Carlisle when Rick said to him, you got the job, he said, I don't know how to use you. And Jason Terry basically said, any way you want.
Chauncey Billups, Kenyon Martin. Denver, time after time, getting to the offensive glass without a guy in a white jersey within 5 feet of him. It's been Chris Anderson. It's been Kenyon Martin, J.R. Smith, Carmelo Anthony. They've all done it. Nowitzki with a big mismatch. Cannot finish it over J.R. Smith. Carmelo. It's a 3 for Carmelo Anthony to tie the game. And a timeout taken by Rick Carlisle.
There's second chance opportunities. A lot of bodies flying around. Again, all that athleticism and activity having an impact on Dallas.
So Denver, with some improved shooting and getting to the offensive glass, have come back to tie the Mavs here in the second. And that's important, Mark, them downgrading it. Depending on the number and severity of the flagrant fouls, 1s or 2s, you could wind up getting suspended. So that's good news for the Rockets. They hope Yaldo is healthy. Tied at 33 here in the second quarter. The big story in recent minutes in this game, Doris, has been Denver getting to the offensive glass.
In the first 2 games, everything was at the rim for Denver. And what that allows you to do is come out of nowhere if you're the Birdman flying down the lane. Forget about when he's blocking shots. Look at the area he covers in such a short span of time. That energy, activity, everything at the rim. Second chance disparity is huge right now. 12-2 in favor of the Denver Nuggets.
Chris Anderson with 3 fouls, though, so he's on the bench right now. There are the numbers for the offensive rebounds, 8-3. The second chance points, 12-2. What about the latest on the big stars? Well, they are both getting their points, although Carmelo Anthony has done most of his damage, Doris, from the free throw line.
Yeah, and he's had some easy opportunities. He's had a couple of spin moves to get right at the rim. He missed them. I thought he was rushing it a little bit early. Yeah, Dirk, just a very difficult check, but has got to find somebody else who can help.
3 Mavericks, by the way, with 3 fouls each. Josh Howard, Eric Dampier, and Antoine Wright. That's why Gerald Green is back in the game now for Dallas, a guy who plays sparingly, but has gotten several minutes here today. This is Green on the drive, splits the double team, dumps it down to Hollins. Denver ball.
See, Denver making those switches. There are a lot of times that Dirk has got a smaller guy on him, and he's not necessarily taking him down to the box with that back dribble to get one-on-one.
Denver has not led at any point so far in this game. Almost did right there, but Nene couldn't finish, and back come the Mavericks. Green misses a 3 from the corner, but here comes Carmelo. Carmelo with Jason Kidd on him. Jason Terry thinking about coming over to help. Doesn't want to leave Billups, though. Turnaround by Carmelo, though. A good block out there by Hollins. Frees up the rebound for Nowitzki.
That's a tough shot. In the past, that's what you'd see a little bit from Denver. There is AI or Carmelo just pounding the rock.
By the way, 7 rebounds already for Dirk Nowitzki in this game to go with his 14 points. Again, J.R. Smith is on him. Knocked it away, saved it, but then Dirk got it back. And Dirk forced it up. He might have thought the shot clock was running down, but they actually reset it. The ruling being that Denver had possession, but Dirk took a tough shot from the corner.
So this is what I thought. When he gets a smaller defender on him, he can be methodical with that back down dribble. Pretty good job by Smith to make the play. There it is, the shot that you thought he had to take. But I'd like to see that more, because Denver is switching big to little. And so there's times where he could just use that back down dribble to get closer to the rim.
Foul on Gerald Green, and back to the line goes Chauncey Billups. Just about automatic. 91% of the regular season, 95% of the postseason, as Brandon Abbas will take the place of Dirk Nowitzki.
So they're checking him, Dan, one-on-one. You saw San Antonio in round 1 send multiple defenders at him, try to really mix looks. George Karl, for the most part, switching pick and rolls with him and trying to play him pretty straight up.
Those free throws give the Nuggets their first lead of the game.
Now where do you go for offense?
Smith knocks it away. Smith will get it back. Denver now up by 4.
And the crowd completely silent.
Yep. It's a 9-0 run right now for the Nuggets, who already lead the series 2-0. Good defense by Smith. He has come away. He's even got a couple of votes for Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA. George Karl says, hey, that's great, but how come Kenyon Martin didn't get any votes? He thinks he's got a number of good defenders on his team. Let's listen in. George Karl in a recent timeout.
All we need is about 5 minutes of good offense. Defensively, you got to bring it.
I think they've been good defensively. They're challenging shots, and the number of times they're contesting things at the rim, not giving up on plays. Man, that was the league joke for so long, was it not? Denver would get into a playoff series and be spotty all year with their defensive effort, not committed to the details. Well, all of a sudden, George Karl's team, guess what? And Magic Johnson said it at Christmas, remember? He said, if you want to win championships, defense never goes out of style. Look at that. Just second time we've seen a play from behind get tipped and a run out ensue.
Well, they're one of only 4 teams the Nuggets are to make the playoffs each of the last 6 years, but they lost in the first round each of the last 5 years, and it wasn't even close. Their record was 4-20. In the playoffs in the last 5 years. They advanced to the second round this year for the first time since '94, and trying to advance to the conference finals for the first time since 1985. And look how the defense has shut down both New Orleans and Dallas so far in the postseason. Second foul on Hollins. Nene to the line. Nene still looking for his first point of the game. 24 in game 1, 25 in game 2.
He had only had 2 24-point games in the entire 82-game regular season, and then puts those things back to back.
exploiting the athleticism advantage that he has had over Eric Dampier. Dampier with foul trouble. Ryan Hollins in the game in the middle right now for the Mavs. Running Terry off some screens. Smith stays with him. Been 3.5 minutes since the Mavericks made a field goal. Green steps in, misses the jumper. Chauncey Billups with a rebound. Smith for three. Air ball. Dallas ball. Mark Cuban looking on with that intense look of concern that he sports on an almost continuous basis in Maverick games. Kid trying to back down Billups. No help, and Kid locks it in.
I think that's a guy who understands his team has had struggle putting points on the board, so just takes matters into his own hands.
Dallas back within one.
And Jason Terry just looked at the crowd and tried to get them involved, sort of imploring them to give us some assistance here.
Nene one-on-one with Hollins. Nice move. And then couldn't finish, got it back, missed again.
Boy, he's got to be just completely frustrated. It's 2 good looks and he can't put it home.
And he is 0 for 7 in the game. Denver shooting 28%, and they're up by 1 on the road. Pass no, rebound Nene.
You got to impact the game. Your offense isn't going, that's okay. You can still defend and rebound.
Off balance shot by Smith, not there. He hit the deck. Dallas has numbers. And a whistle behind the play.
What's the whistle? Is it a foul in the backcourt?
Yeah, we had a foul on Nene, causing the stoppage and sending us to the under 3 timeout. Denver up 2-0 and up by 1 here on the Mavericks.
ESPN's presentation of the NBA playoffs, brought to you by Coors Light. Introducing the Coors Light 12-ounce
Supersonics. That was 15 years ago, and that until this season was the last time that the Denver Nuggets had advanced to the second round of the NBA playoffs. But they are not content, Doris, to just make it to the second round. They've got much bigger things on their mind.
I think this team thinks it can win a championship. And if it all starts on the defensive end, they are doing the job there. Now, this is a team right now that's shooting 27% and somehow has the lead.
Hollins doesn't get the bounce. Ryan Hollins, third-year player out of UCLA, again getting a lot of very important minutes in this round for Dallas because of the foul trouble and the trouble in general that Eric Dampier has had with Nene. Hollins not as strong as Nene in experience, but he's become an important player off the Dallas bench. There was even talk of him possibly starting this game here today. The lob inside. Anthony, tough catch in the finish.
Gerald Green going to be called for the foul as well. And Carmelo Anthony, how about the catch, the gather, and the finish? That was a difficult finish.
And again, another way in which they miss Josh Howard, who's on the bench with 3 fouls. Denver shooting below 30% and leading. Josh Howard has played well when he's been in there, but foul trouble has limited him to 9 minutes here in the first half. Terry on a switch with Nene on him. Driving on the Denver center, pulls up, leaves it short. Carmelo Anthony just got hit in the throat, it looks like, an inadvertent elbow perhaps, as everybody was going for the rebound. Never got over half court, but appears to be okay. Still grimacing and reaching for his throat as he gets back on D. Again, Jason Kidd one-on-one with Billups. Green flies in there and misses the float, and then another rebound for Nene. Kenyon Martin. Anthony Carter passed up the 2. And all kinds of contact underneath between Carmelo and Gerald Green.
Yeah, they're just taking it to Gerald Green on both sides of the floor. Understanding this is an inexperienced guy, but we'll get a look at the play that the elbow to the throat that Carmelo catches right there. Ooh.
Staggered him for a moment. He has recovered. He's back at the free throw line, where he's now 8 for 9 in this game. Johan Petro into the game for the first time as Nene sits down. The elbow from Ryan Hollins. In and out, rebound Nowitzki. Dallas has led most of the game, but Denver has taken over in the last 3 or 4 minutes in spite of 29% field goal shooting. And again, Dallas is only at 33. Crowd wants Dirk to take Petro. Long jumper. Is that a shooter's touch?
And did you have any doubt he was taking that shot against Petro?
How about 16 and 9 in the first half for Dirk?
Foul troubles just killed them because Josh Howard's been a huge miss.
Anthony to Martin for the slam. There's your Denver athleticism on display, even with 2 surgically repaired knees.
Well, you know what's interesting is when they're switching everything, they're switching big to little, they've got the athleticism at those forward spots to go ahead and contend with some of those guards off the dribble. Their feet are good enough.
Final minute of the first half. Petro again defending Dirk. Nowitzki drives and is fouled. Coming up at the half, it's the Toyota Halftime Show with Mark Jones, Avery Johnson, and Jamal Mashburn. As we found out earlier today, Chuck Daly passing away. Hall of Famer Chuck Daly passing away at the age of 78. A moment of silence for the great coach Chuck Daly before this game here today, and also an injury update on Yao Ming.
Remember how he used to refer to his players as 12 mini corporations? Yeah, what just a class act and beloved in the city of Detroit.
Sympathies to the Daly family and the NBA community. All the coaches throughout the playoffs have been wearing pins with Chuck Daly's initials on them. Chuck Daly, of course, coaching the Pistons to a couple of NBA championships and also coached the original Dream Team back in '92.
Well, how about this story? He's weak from chemo, but Jay Wright, a Philadelphia native, and Philadelphia, the cradle of coaches, he diagrams a play, gives it to Rolly Massimino, says, "Give this to Jay. He's got North Carolina in the Final Four." I mean, how great is that?
Billups, yes, tough jumper for Chauncey Billups to restore the 4-point lead. All 9 of Billups' points have been here in the second quarter. Petro knocks it away, 7 to shoot. Nowitzki for 3, got it! Carmelo with plenty of time. Anthony Carter, nice find underneath, and the reverse for Carmelo Anthony. 2.5 seconds. Jason Terry cannot get the shot off. And that will end the first half. Carmelo Anthony and Dirk Nowitzki each with very big numbers in the first half of this game. 21 for Dirk, 19 for Carmelo.
Throw whatever defender you want at Dirk Nowitzki. It doesn't matter. He can acknowledge that they're good. He's still lighting them up.
And let's go to Nancy Lieberman.
Well, thank you very much. I am with the Birdman, Chris Anderson. Chris, you told me yesterday that all this attention has been really overwhelming for you. By the way, Chauncey Billups' daughters said you're their favorite player. Tell me, describe what that feels like.
Oh, it's incredible to have someone like Chauncey, who's a leader and a champion, to have his kids say that about me. I'm more than excited for something like that to be said about me. But now we're in Dallas and now we're facing the Mavs.
Okay, describe the energy and effort you brought to the team in the first half for you guys to take the lead.
Oh, definitely. That's what I do. I come off the bench, I provide energy, but once I get going, I got a block, and after that, it was just, fueled my fire, and I started going, and I went with it. And unlucky enough, I got 3 fouls early.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Dan?
All right, Nancy, thank you. 5 points, 6 rebounds in only 8 minutes for Chris Anderson in the first half. Coming up at the half momentarily, the Toyota Halftime Show with Mark Jones, Avery Johnson, Jamal Mashburn. Hall of Famer Chuck Daly has passed away, and the guys will also update Yao Ming's health status. The Rockets need him for Game 4 in that series. Here in Dallas, it's the Nuggets 48 and the Mavericks 45, with Denver already leading the series 2-0. Carmelo and Dirk both huge. Denver by 3.
Ever to be a Hall of Famer, win an NBA title, win an Olympic gold medal. The Pistons never had back-to-back winning seasons before he actually arrived. And here's what Michael Jordan actually had to say. Quote, Chuck was a great leader. I only wish I could have played for him outside of the Dream Team. My prayers go out to his family.
Well, he had a tremendous impact on all of us. You know, he gave us the courage to win and the courage to compete in a league where everyone had pretty much settled.
He made us be accountable for ourselves, and I think that's missing a lot in coaching today, that where, you know, Bill Laimbeer has learned a lot from Chuck. Myself, I learned a lot from Chuck. So, I mean, it's all in the coach's persona and how, you know, you relate to people. You don't have to scream at everybody, but, you know, you got to get the best out of your players.
Well, you know, in the heat of those battles, you know, Chuck was always a friend of coaches. He's a good guy. And, you know, he's always in the coaching fraternity and extended a friendly hand. And we're going to miss him in the NBA a lot.
He was great for us, and, you know, till the day he died, he was still coaching us. You know, he was good to us. He was good to all of us.
Remember, one of his former players told me recently that for a guy that liked to dress with silk, he had a tongue of leather. Tough, but very humane in the way he treated his players. What do you think his legacy is going to be?
Well, it's mainly his coaching style. When you look at Coach Chuck Daly's coaching style, he was a great listener. He listened to his coaches, his assistant coaches, and also his players. He really cared about what they thought. But I describe Coach Daly's coaching style as the 3 C's. He was very competitive, but he was classy, and also he was calm. He managed to put his players' egos.
I like that. I like them 3 C's. You do that all the time. Okay.
But he managed his players' egos, and you know the bad boys, they had quite a few egos on that team.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, he managed personalities. You look at Dennis Rodman, who played well under him, and he led men. He put players in a position to succeed, and he understood that it was a players-driven league. So, you know, Chuck Daly was a great coach. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame, 2 championships with Detroit. So, I mean, there's not a lot you can say about him, but his dressing was impeccable.
Certainly was.
Better than Pat Riley?
Without question.
A wonderful coach in the coaching community with a great loss of Chuck Daly. We're going to take a short break. When we come,
most of them, and that is why they are leading this game going to the second half. Hi, everybody. Dan Shulman and Doris Burke back with you. When you think about Denver and energy and rebounding and second chance opportunities, you got to think about the Birdman.
Yeah, he was flying all around using his athleticism to beat them inside. And the theme continues. Second chance points, points in the paint. All Denver advantages in the first 2 games continue here in the third.
And use whatever terminology or verb you want to. He swooped in for the offensive rebound. He soared off the bench. He had some foul trouble, but when he was in there, he was a major factor.
Yeah, I mean, this guy can close out on offense or defense, whether he's blocking shots. He simply covers so much area. The wingspan, look at there. He's got the tattoos on the arm, and look at that on each side of the box in case it came off on either side of the rim. And swooping, well, I think this is the definition of swooping in and spotting it out.
Only 8 minutes because of the foul trouble, but 5 points and 6 rebounds, playing with the same energy, enthusiasm, and ability here in Game 3 on the road, as we all saw him in Game 1 and 2 back in Denver. Let's go to Nancy Lieberman now for her thoughts heading into the second half. Nancy?
Thank you, Dan. Doris was absolutely right. Rick Carlisle said the second chance points are killing us, especially rebounding. We're doing a good job on the initial rebound, but the second rebound, we're not getting a body on somebody. He goes, we will not win if we don't do a better job. We have to get scoring from Jason Terry and Josh Howard to complement Dirk Nowitzki. Dan?
All right, Nancy, thank you. Josh Howard played only 9 minutes because he had foul trouble in the first half. He is favoring both ankles, but he did score 5 points in those 9 minutes. We'll see if Dallas can keep Josh Howard on the court.
Similar to games 1 and 2, Dallas was right there, and they were all the way there until the 4th period, where some untimely turnovers hurt them.
High arcing jumper not there, with the rebound to Carmelo Anthony. Anthony got to the free throw line 10 times in the first half, made 8 of them, offsetting a 5 for 14 performance from the floor. Nice look inside for Nene, and he has it knocked away by Dampier. Howard is grabbed by Chauncey Billups.
So that was a good read by Nene. I mean, he just went for the slip of the screen. It was just better defensive rotation by Dampier. And that was one thing Rick Carlisle talked to us about. You know, he said, when we rotate on our defensive schemes, we've got to have a big body, meet a big body on the rim. And that was a case in point.
Howard misses the long 2. And a foul against Denver. It'll be on Dante Jones, his second.
Well, that's something to watch. I mean, you certainly don't want to put Dallas into the penalty early in this quarter.
2 fouls already in the quarter for the Nuggets. Dante Jones drawing Jason Kidd on this possession. Howard driving on Billups. And another Denver foul, or is it?
Wow.
An offensive foul. Mark Cuban cannot believe it. Josh Howard has picked up his 4th foul less than a minute into the second half.
He kicked him. That's it. Absolutely. See, I'm not questioning these officials.
And even though you're inside the restricted area, the contact was created exclusively by Josh Howard kicking out with that right foot. That is number 4 on Howard. At this point, he remains in the game, and nobody has come to the table to check in.
I'll be Mike Green where the officials are concerned. You can be Jackson in London.
Here's Wright. Off to Howard. Yes. Well, this is Rick Carlisle saying, you know what? Close game, down 2-0 in the series. He's got foul trouble, but you got to have your best guys on the court. Josh Howard's going to stay. Dante Jones fouled by Eric Dampier. That'll be number 4 on Dampier.
Well, defensively, if you're Dallas, do the job and get a turnover or a block shot and allow it to create something for you on the offensive end. And this is where Josh Howard, you need him. He's a terrific open floor finisher.
Now, conference for the officials after the foul call on Dampier. Maybe talking about who the foul should be on. Ryan Hollins was going to come into the game. Dampier's still out on the court right now. As Bennett Salvatore, Ken Maurer, and Mark Wunderlich continue to talk it over.
I like that. It's teamwork. It's communication. It's not necessarily just with the teams, but this is a team of officials. Most important thing is to get it right.
Again, just speculating right now if the discussion is who it was on. Try to clear it up as the information becomes available. On the NBA calendar tonight on ABC, it's Game 3 between Cleveland and Atlanta, with the Cavs up 2 games to none. Tomorrow on ABC, Game 4 between the Lakers and Rockets. The Lakers leading 2 games to 1, and then TNT tomorrow night as Game 4 between Boston and Orlando, with the Magic up 2 games to 1. Josh Howard called for a technical foul. There's the free throw for Chauncey Billups. And remember, there was the personal foul as well. So now Dante Jones will go to the line.
He might be twittering about that or tweeting, whatever it is.
Let's take a look and see if we can see what caused the technical foul. There's Josh Howard kind of batting the ball off the court. Cost him a point.
One of those focused sportsmanship issues right there.
Meanwhile, Eric Dampier and Josh Howard both remain in the game with 4 fouls apiece, less than 2 minutes into the second half.
I think you got to go with him, Dan. I mean, you're fighting for your life. You go down here, this series is over.
Dampier got it. Meanwhile, if you're Denver, if Josh Howard is the guy on Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, go right at him.
That's what you'd expect the Nuggets to do. Right now, that is not the matchup. Josh Howard's on Dante Jones. Antoine Wright is on Carmelo Anthony.
I'd still go to Carmelo. Let Antoine take a shot at him.
Chauncey Billups for three. Yes.
Or go to Mr. Big Shot. He's not quite as hot as Eddie House has been, but his percentage is pretty good.
A guy who, after he got resettled back in Denver, remember he's a Denver guy, played at the University of Colorado after the trade from Detroit. And there's a foul on Billups, who is off to the races, and Dirk Nowitzki's still down. Number 3 on Billups, but the bigger issue is the well-being of Dirk Nowitzki. This is the second time today he's come up favoring that left leg.
Well, Chauncey sees him with his back, and he doesn't anticipate the spin, and there's a lot of contact. You wonder, did he get him with his knee? Yeah, oh yeah, they collided. Knee to knee, that hurts.
Shot clock down to 6. Antoine Wright splits the double team, and he draws the foul. And Carmelo Anthony is grimacing now. The right arm appears to be bothering Carmelo. Holding that right wrist, now reaching up for the elbow. And it's Anthony called for the foul.
He goes to cut off the dribble drive, and their arms get tangled. Yeah. Oh, man.
This has been a physical series from the moment it began. A lot of hard fouls, a huge number of fouls in this game, and a lot of guys playing through injuries right now. Nowitzki, Howard, and Anthony among them.
I often wonder when you watch these playoff series, you know how they say, you know, if it's a college football player, it's a football Sunday, or an NFL guy, what your body feels like on that very next day. Sometimes you watch playoff series and you just wonder how these guys are feeling.
After the preseason, 82 regular season games, now into the second round of playoffs. Billups uses the screen by Nene and knocks down another jumper. It's a long 2, and Denver is out to a 6-point lead. That's their largest lead of the game. Looking to put a stranglehold on this series. Knocked away. Denver's got it. Carmelo in some heavy traffic pulls it out. Remember, 4 fouls for Howard, 4 fouls for Dampier. Kenyon Martin through his fingers. Dallas looking to increase the tempo. Inbounded it quickly, and they hustle it down the court. No double team. Fade away by Dirk. How many times have you seen that?
That's one of those shots that there's simply no defense for. That is special.
23 and 11 for Dirk Nowitzki. He's got 86 points in this series. This is game 3. Nene with his first field goal of the game.
Well, he looks confident, even after struggling that first half. That was a strong, assertive, confident move.
Right behind the back. And one.
You got to bring it, and you better bring it quickly. How about this move? Kenyon Martin cuts him off in one direction, behind the back, goes for the challenge, and he finishes anyway.
The foul on Nene, his 3rd. Antoine Wright, 4th-year player out of Texas A&M. Completes the 3-point play. It's a 3-point game. Not only is Denver up 2-0 in this series, they won all 4 regular season meetings between these two teams. So they have beaten Dallas 6 times already this year. Although 3 of the 4 regular season games were by 3 points or fewer. Both playoff wins double digits. Offensive foul, Carmelo Anthony.
The fans trying to get back in it here. George Karl, he looks pretty staid for a guy who's got a 3-point lead, but good rotation. This is Wright anticipating the dribble try. See, Carmelo had the mismatch because Dampier was checking him, so he wanted to get off the dribble.
Josh Howard elevates from 17 feet in and out. Dirk runs down the rebound for a moment, and he helped retain possession. It'll be Mavericks ball.
You want a little edginess to you right now if you're Dallas. Can you get any?
Yeah, the Nuggets wake up with edginess, but Dallas has to work a little bit harder to acquire it. Denver has been the more assertive, more physical team so far in this series. Here in game 3 in Dallas, they are being played to a standstill by the Mavericks. Both teams shooting poorly. Dirk fouled by Carmelo, number 3 on Anthony. And every time Dirk Nowitzki has had Carmelo Anthony on his back, he's gone right down into the post and tried to make a move.
Yeah, he can be methodical with that back dribble, but it's effective. And as long as Denver continues to play him straight up, he can just pound it until he gets close enough to make his move.
And Nowitzki getting to the line often. Now 7 of 8 on the game. How about 89% on the season for a 7-footer?
Man, that's smooth. That is just picture perfect. They continue to get the scoring from Dirk. As Nancy said, where else can you get some from Josh Howard and Jason Terry?
Terry's got 9 today. Howard's got 7. Jason Kidd's got 4.
Now, where's the Birdman?
Carmelo, tough jumper. Rebound Kidd. Dallas looking to reclaim the lead. Wide open Nowitzki. It'll be Denver ball. Dirk taps himself on the chest as if to say, my bad, missing a wide open 3 that would have blown the roof right off this building. Hasn't missed many. 8 of 13 from the floor. A game high 25 for Dirk Nowitzki today.
There's some guys in this team that have overcome a 2-0 deficit in the past. In fact, losing on their home floor and ended up having to go win it on the road, and were able to do it.
Of course, a guy like Nowitzki's been on both sides of that. Dallas leading the finals 2-0 3 years ago. And we're up into game 3. There's a block on Antoine Wright.
That was close. I thought Carmelo pushed off with his right hand.
Swing away with ESPN for 2 nights of Major League Baseball action at 8 Eastern on Sunday night. Presented by Taco Bell. It's Evan Longoria and the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Boston Red Sox. Then a Monday Night Baseball from New City Field in New York. Johan Santana is on the mound for the Mets as they host division rival Atlanta. Major League Baseball on ESPN and ESPN 360 Sunday and Monday night.
Oh, a nice looking move by Dante Jones.
Again, not looked upon as a scorer. He's got 8 though today, in addition to his good defense. Nowitzki inside. And the foul on Nene. He didn't like the call at all. Number 4 on the Denver big man.
Now, he just picked one up on Carmelo and another one on Nene. And both guys, their face was the picture of frustration.
Huge numbers in this series already for Dirk Nowitzki. Nene out, and here comes the Birdman, who, if you weren't with us in the first half, gave Denver his usual great energy in the first half. Only played 8 minutes because of foul trouble, but he had 5 points and 6 rebounds. Dirk knocks them both down. Rick Carlisle feeling he has no other option to continue to lead Josh Howard and Eric Dampier, each in the game with 4 fouls. A Jason Kidd foul will send us to a timeout, but it's becoming a spirited affair here in the second half. And lead Denver midway through the third here with the American Airlines Center in Dallas. Time now to take a look at our GMC game track.
Well, Dirk Nowitzki is tearing up whatever defender is on him. Carmelo Anthony, I'll go ahead and spin off you as you try to take away that high side of the thing. Go right to the rack and right to the rim. 27 points. Carmelo's got 19 of his own. Has worked for every single one of them. A lot of them coming from the free throw line. And then the Birdman. Oh, yeah. 10 offensive rebounds. Second chance points differential remains solid for the Nuggets. 13-4.
Jason Kidd and the Mavericks, though, have shown some signs of life here in the third quarter. Dirk Nowitzki continues to play some great basketball. 27 and 11.
Those are some sweet
like
shoes.
Those, huh?
Yes, those are sweet. These are Jordan brands.
This
Look
is not
at
a dull.
that.
This is not a dull group. These Denver Nuggets.
No, that's for sure. Carmelo's got style, though.
Jason Terry into the game and out for Dallas. Dampier's gone to the bench, but Howard remains in the game.
How about that big-time move? And again, the strength once he gets to the rim by Chauncey Billups.
Howard playing with 4 fouls. The kick to Kidd. Extra pass to Nowitzki. Another pass. Brandon Bass fouled on the dunk attempt and down.
Again, the officials confer. Going to make sure they get this right. The ball movement by Dallas, excuse me, was sensational. Giving up one good look for another. Dirk, the ball fake, the pass inside. Now, I wonder if that's a flagrant one, because that's a, look at that, it's just a direct push. I think it is.
There's no attempt to make a play on the ball at all there by Dante Jones.
Yeah, and the difference is, you know, the flagrant 2, the word I think they use is excessive.
It looks like they have just called it a personal foul, not a flagrant foul on Dante Jones. A flagrant 1 is 2 in the ball. A flagrant 2, 2 in the ball, and you're out of the game. And depending on how many flagrant fouls you accumulate during the playoffs, you could be subject to a suspension. A flagrant 1 counts for 1 point against you. A flagrant 2 for 2 points against you. And once you exceed 3 points in the postseason, you're looking at a suspension. And that easily could have been, and probably should have been, a flagrant 1 on Dante Jones.
Jason Kidd was having an extended conversation with Bennett Salvatore after the play. I've got to believe it was about that particular one.
J.R. Smith will come in now, and it'll be Dante Jones sitting down. J.R. Smith smiling as he gets booed on his way in.
There you go. It's an automatic suspension after you've exceeded the 3 points. Chauncey and Kenyon both with 1 already. Kenyon $25,000 lighter, too, after the foul on Dirk.
41 fouls already in this game. 22 committed by the Nuggets, 19 by the Mavericks. Carmelo Anthony over Jason Kidd. Tough jumper.
I thought he was going to pull the trigger on the first one. Instead, he went with the up fake, made it a more difficult shot.
Josh Howard into the chest of Chauncey Billups, and he draws the foul. Then number 4 on Chauncey Billups.
Man, this thing has come to a grind because of all these fouls. Do we have a little break between tips, or that game too? I might have to slide that tip.
Howard knocks down the first. Again, Rick Carlisle said before the game he wasn't sure what he was going to get out of Josh Howard because of the ankle trouble. Hoped for 30-plus minutes. And Josh Howard, the problem has been foul trouble more than ankle trouble today. Although he's still favoring them when he's been in there, he's been effective.
Yeah. Remember, it's been Denver's ability to close quarters in the first 2 quarters of this game, and then the spurt to start the 4th.
Started the 4th quarter of game 2 on a 16-2 run. Billups will get it to go, and will have the opportunity for a 3-point play.
You're going to see what he's seeing. This guy goes between the legs, just gets him to stand up a little bit, Jason Terry. And then again, the strength. How many times have you seen this guy absorb contact at the rim because he does a sensational job of getting defenders to bite?
10 points this quarter for Chauncey Billups, what George Karl has referred to like a coach on the floor. He has come in, and once he got settled, he's become a leader. He's had a positive influence on the rest of the players, helping them mature, helping them understand the importance of defense and team play. Nice look inside. Howard, a little strong, runs down the rebound. Howard around Billups. Count the basket. Goaltending on Anderson. How was that goaltending? No way.
Bennett Salvatore smiling right back at him. Remember, once it reaches its apex and it's on its way down, then it becomes a goaltending. He and Bennett Salvatore just exchanged smiles on the way up the floor. It was great.
He says, I'm the Birdman. The rules don't apply to me. 2-point game. How about Denver shooting 70% here in the 3rd after shooting 33% in the first half? Over Brandon Bass. Anderson over the back. Loose ball foul. That one was an easy call.
Yeah, and a silly one.
Yeah.
That's number 4, and you got a long way to go. You can see George Karl. You're concerned about that, obviously. This guy's been terrific for you. Don't give up a cheap one.
Well, it may become a game of attrition here right now. 3 players aside, each with 4 fouls. We still got more than 4 minutes left in the third quarter. And the wrong guy to put at the line.
Well, Denver had the advantage throughout the series. I mean, this team came in 30 free throw attempts a game in the regular season. Number 1 in the league, Denver. But now you start to put Dallas there a ton.
Tie game. 29 for Nowitzki, 12 of 13 from the line. And the crowd re-energized here in Dallas. Good defensive stand so far by the Mavericks. J.R. Smith with a pull-up. And Chris Anderson just got number 5, I believe. Yeah, he did. He just threw down his defender, picked up number 5, and he's on the verge of losing it right now.
Terrific job by Kenyon Martin to get in the teammate's space and get him away from the official. Your greatest strength can be your greatest weakness, and emotion and energy is one of his strengths, but don't let it get away from you here.
Let's take a look.
Well, this is why, Dan, the first silly one over the back was important for Anderson. And there's, you know, how you going to...
What are you arguing?
He's stepping outside his mind right now.
And you know what? He has been playing great. He has been a huge reason they are playing so well in the playoffs. But he has not been able to keep his emotions in check, and he has committed back-to-back silly fouls that are going to force him to the bench. And guess who likes it?
Yeah, he can tweet about that now. The officials got it right.
Linus Kleza into the game for Anderson. He comes down to the rebound. Kleza's got a wrap on his right thumb. That's his shooting hand. Reportedly had his thumb slammed in a car door. That's the report that George Karl gave to us. Did not practice yesterday. Chauncey Billups again.
That's why he's known as Mr. Big Shot. And you know what? Screen and roll with your 2 best players right now, Carmelo and Billups. And Terry just gave him a moment's breath on that pick and roll.
14 third quarter points for Billups. Howard no. Loose ball. James Singleton. Jason Terry. And look at Kenyon Martin get up there to keep it alive. Denver comes down with the ball.
That did not look like the rebound of a guy who's had microfraction on each leg.
Still got a hop in his step at the other end as he is fouled by Singleton. You gotta want it here in this one. Denver up by 2. Musical. This is not for the faint of heart, Doris, here tonight.
There's a lot of different ways to care now. The players care about people in their community, and they care about winning this series. So this has not been for the faint of heart. The kick as you go to the rim. Chauncey trying to make a play. And then this one, this is a scary one, because Carmelo, you wonder, you could break your arm in that circumstance, but you better come with it and be prepared. And this one, ironically, was the one Birdman was objecting to the foul call. I don't know how, but there's bodies flying, people are competing, and it is a very special time of year in the NBA.
Chris Anderson frustrated. He's got 5 fouls. He's on the bench. Dirk Nowitzki's on the bench right now for Dallas, not because of foul trouble, just getting a breather. And Kenyon Martin is at the line for Denver. Now Kenyon Martin not afraid to mix it up. This is back at a game 1. A foul there and then a flagrant foul there. Originally called a technical and changed to a flagrant one as Kmart knocked down Dirk Nowitzki. 9th-year player out of the University of Cincinnati, first overall pick, former collegiate national player of the year. And he himself will say, maybe I don't jump as high as I used to, but I'll tell you what, that rebound down there, I mean, that was pretty impressive stuff. Even with 2 surgically repaired knees, he could still get way up there. Brandon Bass wide open from 17. He can be an effective scorer at times off the Dallas bench, and he's in there just to give Dirk Nowitzki a break, probably until the end of the quarter.
game with Chauncey and Carmelo.
Carmelo has it knocked away. Dallas on the run, led by Howard. Looking for a trailer. Finds Bax, and a foul on Martin. Number 3 on Kenyon Martin. Denver, Doris, has committed 13 fouls in the third quarter.
Yeah, I mean, remember, they put the Mavs into the penalty at the 8:02 mark. And from that point, they were 11-12 from the free throw line. So there's no mystery of how Dallas was scoring their points here in the third period.
There are 6 players in this game with at least 4 fouls. The Birdman, Chris Anderson, has 5 for Denver. Chauncey Billups and Nene each with 4 for Dallas. Josh Howard, Eric Dampier, and Antoine Wright with 4. And give Josh Howard some credit. He has played virtually the entire third quarter with 4 fouls. Give Rick Carlisle some credit. He knows he has to roll the dice down 2-0 in the series.
Yeah, and when you get into the bonus set early, you're obviously going to change the way you play. Everything's going to be a drive and try to get some free throw opportunities.
Billups and Kidd. And a foul on Jason Kidd. He tried as long as he could and as hard as he could to stay down, and he just came up a little, and Chauncey Billups took advantage.
Now, this guy's the master. I'm not sure there's a lead guard who does this any better. That ability to get people around the rim, up off their feet.
Huge third quarter for Mr. Big Shot. Has not missed a shot from the field or the line. But in addition to Denver, came back in the first week of the season, just changed the whole atmosphere and look of the team. The Nuggets getting into the second round for the first time since 1994. And of course, Billups has scaled the highest of mountains in the NBA of the Pistons championship team back in 2004, NBA Finals MVP.
Said it hurt, Ken. You give so much to an organization. It is a business, but there's no question he left his 2 closest friends. He's so close with Rip Hamilton and Tayshaun Prince. That's not an easy thing.
Kidd going right to work on Chauncey at the other end to tie the game.
Yeah, you got a prideful guy and a future Hall of Famer, Jason Kidd. He's going to give as good as he gets. And again, they're just working Carmelo and Billups on one side of the floor.
Carmelo spinning, and James Singleton with a reach-in foul.
Well, if you're Jason Kidd, watch what he does with his left hand. Let's just just use this and get right around. That is good stuff. He's played in the league a little bit.
And Jason Kidd obviously well aware Chauncey Billups has 4 fouls, and Chauncey might have to give a little ground defensively. There are 3 players in this game who have already been to the free throw line at least 10 times today. Dirk Nowitzki, Carmelo Anthony, and Chauncey Billups. 1 of 2 for Carmelo.
And Jason Kidd, one of the best rebounding guards in history.
Backing down J.R. Smith. Going around J.R. Smith. Draws another foul.
Saying, I'm not done yet, folks. There was a point in the first half where Jason Kidd did the same thing. He sensed his team needed scoring, so he went right to the box and tried to score around people.
Nuggets have not been happy at all with the way the officiating has gone here in the third quarter. Although, to be honest with you, if anything could have gone differently, it would have been something that would have gone worse for the Nuggets. That Dante Jones easily could have been called for a flagrant 1. It's hard to argue many of the foul calls that Denver has picked up here in the third. It's hard to keep track of all the foul calls that Denver has picked up here in the third. Dallas leads. Smith behind the back through a double team. Now Carmelo lost it. Anthony Carter launches. Howard with a rebound. Kidd to Bass, who draws the foul. What a great look ahead by Jason Kidd.
There are times where he is able to make passes. You simply wonder, how does he do it? He's on the move. That one-handed, doesn't even bring the guide hand over. Watch the right hand. I mean, how pretty is that? How many times have you seen that guy do that?
And you can see Jason Kidd, after he completed the pass to Bass, he was as happy as a rookie. He did a big, huge jump up in the air as Bass got to the rim. Jason Kidd, obviously the lateral quickness is not what it used to be at times in this series. The numbers are not what they used to be, but
put the ball in his hands in the open floor, and the ball is in the hands of a master right there.
Officially only 3 assists today for Jason Kidd. Final minute of the third. Carmelo around Howard into the chest of Singleton. And the foul was Kenyon Martin went up to try to slam it home.
Jason Kidd and Kenyon Martin barking at one another in a very friendly fashion, yeah? Just exchanging some friendly words. That's gone on for a couple minutes.
Former teammates, right? New Jersey. Foul was on Singleton, his third. It was on the drive, so Carmelo Anthony back to the line. This will be the 72nd free throw of the game.
Wow. It feels every bit of that.
Dallas in a virtual must-win. Teams who are up 2-0 in a best-of-7 historically in the NBA have won 93% of the time. Teams who go up 3-0 in the history of the NBA have won 100% of the time. Game 4 Monday night, right back in this building. Howard fading away over Carmelo, who might have gotten a piece.
Wow.
Back come the Nuggets with a 4-second difference between the game clock and shot clock. J.R. Smith took a bad shot at the end of the first half of game 2. Missed it. Jason Kidd came down. Got a 3. See how Denver executes here with just a few seconds difference. Double on Carmelo to take it out of his hands. Anthony Carter. J.R. Smith. Kenyon Martin. Dallas wants it waved off. Dallas screaming for basket interference. Time for Kidd. Off balance. Yes!
Jason Kidd is not going to go down without a fight. He scored around the rim. He's not got a lot of time here, but he's aware of the shot clock. He gets it off in plenty of time, and it's money.
Second buzzer beater in as many games in this series for Jason Kidd, and the Mavericks need every bit of it. We are going to the fourth quarter. Dallas down 2-0 in the series, but we got a great 12 minutes coming. 1-point lead, Dallas going to the fourth. Let's go courtside now for some Burger King late game coaching adjustments. Our Nancy Lieberman is with Dallas coach Rick Carlisle.
Welcome back to Dallas. Rick Carlisle, you told me at halftime second chance points for Denver was a problem. They have not scored in the third period. What was the difference for the team?
Well, we're active, and we're making it more part of our consciousness. Obviously, I mean they're athletic. They come over your back. We've got to check out. Then we've got to pursue the ball.
Fourth quarters in this series has been a problem for you. What's going to be the difference today?
Well, we're going to play better, and we're going to quit turning it over. And we got our crowd, so hey, we're in a good position. We just got to finish it.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Well, Nancy, Doris, finishing it has not been something that Dallas has done well at all in this series. In fact, they have gotten run out of the gym in the first 2 games in Denver. Is that altitude? Because the Nuggets are used to it. One of the Dallas players said it's not altitude, it's attitude. Now, Dallas is playing with a little more attitude here today, and they're trying to match the physical play of the Nuggets.
Well, and those runs were a product of what Rick's last thought was to Nancy. Untimely turnovers to start the fourth period. How does Dallas handle it here?
Dirk Nowitzki back into the game for Dallas. Josh Howard remains in the game. Played the entire third quarter after picking up his 4th foul in the first minute. Has to lay off Carmelo a little bit, who hits the tough turnaround.
Silky smooth. I mean, those are shots similar to Dirk's where there simply is no defending that. I mean, that's just terrific offense beating good defense.
Jason Kidd to the bench for the Mavericks. J.J. Barea in at the point right now. Howard, left hand, blocked.
Okay, that's twice now in the last couple minutes where Carmelo Anthony has flat out guarded somebody. I mean, just made it impossible to score. Look at this effort. And Nancy talked about it before the game. Part of that was his experience with USA Basketball. And you think Kobe Bryant's approach had an impact on the likes of LeBron and Carmelo? You bet it did.
Nene crossing over on Brandon Bass. The cut by Anthony Carter, who gets the bounce. Just solid, steady minutes in the backcourt this series for Anthony Carter.
So they guard and they're incredibly unselfish. Two descriptors you wouldn't have put on the Denver Nuggets a year ago.
And two of the big reasons why they've gotten out of the first round for the first time in 15 years. Terry gets it back. Howard baseline. Leaner, no. Rebound Carter. Nuggets pushing. J.R. Smith. And the rebound to Terry.
Boy, they dodged a bullet.
They did.
That is J.R. Smith in his danger zone.
And watching the Nuggets come up the court, they were moving a whole lot quicker than the Mavericks were getting back the court. Back down the court on D that time. Howard into the chest of Nene. Saved by Barea. Fresh 24.
So when do you come back with Kidd and Billups?
Jason Terry.
Nice move. One substitution will trigger the other, because when either Billups or Kidd goes back in, got to believe the other one's coming back.
Jason Terry on the season averaged better than 19 points per game as the NBA Sixth Man of the Year. The numbers have been down in the playoffs. He's got 11 in 27 minutes today. Howard comes up with a steal.
Too casual. Much too casual with your Carmelo.
Good position by Bass. And a foul on Nene, number 5.
One casual pass leads to an opportunity on the other end. A little bit casual. Josh Howard off those bad ankles. And Chauncey can't believe it. Those are not championship plays. That's what Chauncey's thinking with that shake of the head.
Good minutes today off the bench for Brandon Bass. He's got 11 points in 14 minutes, almost all of it coming from the free throw line.
And look at this. Billups gets to the scorer's table, and guess who else gets up off the bench? Here comes Jason Kidd.
A long list of players on both sides in foul trouble. Nene with 5. He's gone out, but Chris Anderson, the Birdman's got 5, and he just came back in for him.
Well, the time on the bench had to get Birdman under control more emotionally.
He was barking long and loud after both the 4th foul and the 5th foul, not to mention a goaltending call against him. So he has only been able to play 11 minutes in this game. Carter. Anderson. That's one he'll want back. Dirk with a bullet pass inside. Bass. And he draws another foul.
Boy, Bass has been very active, putting a lot of pressure on.
And guess who's done for the night?
Go back to that over-the-back foul he committed. He had absolutely no shot at a rebound, and simply, shoves the Dallas player, and that's one you can't waste.
So now with Anderson out and Nene on the bench with foul trouble, Denver's got to go smaller.
Look at Dirk. Brandon Bass has given you really good minutes. There's the foul.
Frustrating game for Chris Anderson after being such a huge factor in the games 1 and 2 in Denver. So up front right now for the Nuggets doors, Kenyon Martin at 6'9", Linus Kleza at 6'8". No Chris Anderson, he's out. No Nene on the bench with 5 fouls.
Right, that's the advantage of having those 3 bigs.
Billups, Kleza, shot clock at 3. Carter. Rebound, Dirk Nowitzki. 14 rebounds for Nowitzki. rebound to Kleza. J.J. Barea at times this year has scored in bunches. He could really be an offensive weapon, but has not scored yet today. Now Nowitzki called for the foul. A timeout here early in the fourth. Dallas up by 2.
Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 3 against the Atlanta Hawks. They are 6-0. Cleveland in the playoffs so far. 6 straight double-digit wins. Dan?
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Denver is 6-1 so far in the playoffs, but they're getting the battle today from Dallas in a physical, foul-filled affair. Dirk Nowitzki, Carmelo Anthony, Chauncey Billups, all with very big games. You don't see Jason Kidd's name up there, but he has had his moments in this game.
Well, the advantage in fast break points, unlike Game 1 and Game 2, the advantage is in Dallas's favor. Jason Kidd, what does he see when he's in the open floor? Well, guys sprinting lane lines and giving him opportunities to pad those assist numbers. Mark Jackson, do you hear footsteps? Just Jason Kidd's assist numbers keep going up and up and up. And in the open floor, I mean, this guy off either hand, doesn't need the guide in, a one-handed pass, great vision. Tonight, they have outscored Denver at fast break points by 12.
That's great technology. ESPN Axis technology. You saw the rotating angle there, kind of like being inside Jason Kidd's head, getting a chance to see the whole court. In this game, there have been 78 free throws now attempted. There have been 55 fouls called. Chris Anderson, the Birdman, has already fouled out of the game. And the entire game has been played, Doris, in a 12-point range. Neither team has led by more than 6 points at any point today. Switch, now Nowitzki, defended by Carter, the kick to Kidd, the 3, yes!
See, now again, because Denver's switching those screens and there's an inevitable mismatch, Kenyon was thinking about giving a little bit of help because he knew his teammate might need it. And the one thing you don't want to do is give Jason Kidd uncontested three-point looks.
Yeah, for a guy who doesn't have a reputation to be a good shooter, he shot 41% from beyond the arc this year. Kenyon Martin kept it alive. Chauncey Billups will answer with a 3.
He's grabbing that hand like he's hurt. Yep. He's shaking off that left hand.
21 and a half for Billups. Around and out for Barea. Offensive rebound pass. Nowitzki for 3. Some kind of game here today in Dallas.
Carmelo waits to come in and have his impact. Denver, who do they go to on this trip?
Billups can't shed Kidd. Shot clock under 10. Kidd wants help. Barea leaves his man. Carter. Kleza. Martin. And it was all because they started scrambling to try to take the ball out of Billups' hand, and great passing by the Nuggets.
The dribble drives have an impact because they get you rotating to make stops, and somewhere somebody's open.
Chauncey Billups again reaching for a couple of the fingers on his left hand as he made his way back down on D. Antoine Wright with a pretty reverse.
That is a strong-looking move right there by Wright.
Timeout, Denver.
Dirk Nowitzki making shots.
Defense is going to win, gentlemen. It's all with defense. Defense on 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's make the adjustment and win the game. That's the only thing that counts. Keep your focus. Let's go. Stay tough. Stay smart. Try to play without fouling.
That's been a big problem for the Denver Nuggets. They have had a lot of foul trouble. Some absolutely great performances. Dirk Nowitzki, 32 points, 14 rebounds. Chauncey Billups with a monster second half for the Nuggets. Chris Anderson has fouled out of the game for the Nuggets. And the bench, which has been a story at times in this series, today it favors Dallas. Look at that, outscoring the Denver bench by better than a 2-1 margin. J.R. Smith off the Denver bench draws the foul.
We'll call it a healthier. Josh Howard has been huge.
Number 5 on Antoine Wright. Josh Howard on the bench right now. 24 minutes, some foul trouble today. ABC is your destination for the NBA playoffs tonight. At the top of the hour at 8 o'clock Eastern, Game 3 is LeBron and the Cavs take on the Atlanta Hawks. The Cavs have 2 games tonight. Tomorrow, Kobe Bryant and the Lakers taking on Yao Ming, health permitting, and the Rockets in Game 4. Coverage begins at 3 Eastern with the GMC NBA Countdown.
That last part of that wire said play defense without fouling. And we talked about their turnovers. Dallas has not had a turnover in 15 minutes. Huge.
After 20 turnovers really cost them Game 1. They cut it down to 11 in Game 2. Another Denver foul. Number 4 on Carmelo Anthony.
Jason Terry's just a moment's hesitation off that dribble drive that got that initial defender reacting. You see Carter got beat, and then the help comes over, but a little bit late. The physical play continues.
In the fourth quarter, often Jason Terry's time. Gets a ton of fourth quarter minutes.
Yeah, they play through Jason Terry and Dirk Nowitzki, a 2-man game. They like it on the right side of the floor. That's generally where they'll go. They ride Howard early and those 2 guys late.
Two big free throws for Terry, who's now got 13.
Yeah, you know, Denver's run a lot of 2-man game with Carmelo and with Chauncey. Now they'll do it with Kmart.
Nowitzki on Carmelo. The kick to Carter. Billups steps inside and scoops it up and in. He continues to shred the Dallas defense.
Does such a great job getting defenders to react to his ball fakes. And it doesn't matter if it's beyond the arc or if it's around the rim. They always react.
32 for Billups to lead the Nuggets. 32 for Nowitzki to lead the Mavericks. Gamble by Carter. Nowitzki will take advantage and draw the foul. Josh Howard re-entering the game. Let's go to Nancy Lieberman.
Thanks, Dan. When he was on the bench, Josh Howard, if you noticed, or you will get to notice, he had a hydroculator pack heating his ankles. I spoke to the assistant Mavs trainer, Cash Birdwell, and he said it makes him feel better. It increases the blood flow so his ankles don't stiffen up. That's one of the most important things, especially as he re-enters the game. Dan?
All right, Nancy, thank you. Again, Howard missed about 30 games this year with a left ankle injury, and then he rolled his right ankle earlier in this series, played only 6 minutes in Game 2. The left one will require surgery at the end of the season. The right one is the one that's actually more painful for him right now. But he has played 24 minutes. He's got 11 points and 6 rebounds today for the Mavericks. Defending Carmelo Anthony. The pull-up by Anthony, around and out, a rebound Dallas. Carmelo's gotten his points, but he has had to work for it today. He is 7 for 21 from the field. Kidd to the cutter. Josh Howard for the reverse.
Just a savvy play. Can't fall asleep if you're Denver.
Just the 4th assist of the game for Kidd. But what a big one it was. Nene lucky to catch that pass. Wasn't expecting it. J.R. Smith for 3. It's a 1-point game.
Billups got 2 defenders reacting. Both guys were sold on the up fake. It's such a simple play, Dan, but effective.
Jason Kidd right back into the post on Billups. 2 strong guards. Kidd, pass for the slam.
See, in Denver electing to play everybody straight up. They will make switches, but they're not doubling. They're relying on their one-on-one defense. If you're off the ball, you have to be aware of activity by cutters.
Right back into Carmelo for the Nuggets. Chauncey again. Nene keeps it alive, but Dallas has it.
And Bass wanted the over the back. And when Nancy interviewed for Carlisle, he very subtly said, hey, they're going to come over the back.
This looks familiar.
Yes.
3rd time in a row. This time it's the fadeaway by Kidd. Look at Bass keep it alive. What a hustle play. He has been the unsung hero tonight for Dallas. Howard. And reaching in, Billups knocks it away. And a foul from behind on Howard, his 5th. Major foul problems throughout the game for both teams. Chris Anderson is out. Nene's got 5. Antoine Wright. And as of this moment, now Josh Howard with 5 for Dallas.
Not in the bonus, so you're not putting that 91% free throw shooter on the line with that foul.
Nene. And a travel. Brandon Bass playing some tough D. The Mavericks down 2-0, scratching and clawing, trying to get back into this series.
Humans have a strength.
Just time and again going to work on Chauncey Billups and then finding people as well.
He's only got 5 assists, but every one of them has been timely. You know what? Savvy veteran. Maybe doesn't have the speed that he used to have, Dan, but he nonetheless has figured out a way to be effective, finding guys all over the floor.
Well, back in the day when we were all a bit younger than we are today, Jason Kidd was at the very outset of what has turned into unquestionably a Hall of Fame career. A little more speed, a little more hops, and you could already see the skills that would set him apart from most every other point guard.
Well, he's 3rd in the league in triple doubles this year from the lead guard position, and it doesn't matter if it's Chauncey or any other defender. And this is where you don't want to leave him. And you're right. I mean, he's never been known as an offensive juggernaut in terms of his scoring ability, but you give him an uncontested 3 and look out.
5th all-time on the NBA playoff assist list. Magic Johnson is the all-time leader. Rick Carlisle keeps riding the hot hand. Brandon Bass getting big minutes today. He's up front along with Dirk Nowitzki, so it's a smaller lineup, but along with Kidd and Terry and Howard in there, a lot of weapons right now for the Mavericks. For the Nuggets, it's Billups, Smith, Carmelo, Kenyon Martin, and Nene. Wide open look, Carmelo.
A terrific screen by Nene. I mean, he just flat out put a body on it, allowed Carmelo plenty of space for that jumper.
And Carmelo slapping his hands in frustration to back down on the defensive end after missing that open look. Kenyon Martin just ran over Jason Terry, and he's smiling at him as if to say, come on, I didn't hit you that hard. Number 4 on Martin. And the Jet heads to the line. Chris Anderson has already fouled out of this game for the Nuggets. %88 on the season.
We're 38 for 46 as a team tonight.
Four-point game, 2:12 to go. Billups with 32 for Denver. Now Carmelo with Kidd on his back. Anthony, nice pass. Kenyon Martin lays it in. George Karl said to us before the game, I feel good if Carmelo Anthony and J.R. Smith combine for 10 assists in the game. They are both good passers, but today they've only got 4. That was the second for Anthony. Smith's got 2 as well.
At least they're playing unselfishly.
Nowitzki fading away. Howard keeps it alive. And a foul on Carmelo Anthony.
He better be careful. He's going to get teed up. Chauncey can't believe it either.
Number 5 on Carmelo. Well, some big numbers in this game. It started off as a very low-scoring game, but all the free throws have really piled up the numbers. Dirk Nowitzki with 33. He's now got 96 points in 3 games in this series.
And Chauncey Billups is so fired up, he keeps throwing his fists, and he was having a long conversation with Bennett Salvatore, and Bennett Salvatore has really given him a lot of ear, but he's telling him now, hey, Chauncey, back off. We'll send George Karl down to further down that coaching box.
1 and 2 for Howard. 10 minutes away on ABC Game 3 between Cleveland and Atlanta. A minute 28 to go in the fourth here in Dallas. The Mavericks with a 3-point lead. Karl, for the most part, maintaining his sense of calm. He's always preaching, hey, you're okay. It's a long game. Do what you have to do, and everything will turn out okay. The focus now is on rebounding for the Nuggets. Kidd staying with Chauncey Billups. A minute 20 to go now. Denver with the ball, down by 3. Billups by Kidd, up and under, no. Rebound Nowitzki. How about Dirk Nowitzki with 33 points and 16 rebounds? Defended by Kenyon Martin. The jumper. Too strong. Denver ball as we go into the final minute here in Dallas.
They'll be pretty efficient with a score here.
Nene with a size advantage on Bass. Tries to spin around him. What a move by the big man. How many guys his size could make that move?
Now Rick Carlisle uses a timeout, and I am sure, as they always do in these situations, it's usually the Jet, Jason Terry, and Dirk Nowitzki. But Denver needed a score. Chauncey Billups goes to Nene. How about the athleticism to complete under duress? And we got a 1-point game. We got Kenyon checking Dirk. There they go, the two-man with Terry and he on the right.
Nowitzki driving on to Martin. Wide open is Jason Terry.
Dirk generally just waits to see how teams are going to guard him again. They go to this two-man game on the right-hand side of the floor, and Dirk, unselfishly, the kick to Terry, money from the corner, and Dallas trying to get back in it.
He has not played like a guy who's been distracted here today.
I think for most of these guys, the place you feel most confident and comfortable is between the lines playing basketball, and it certainly has been a sanctuary. We talked about a few things for Dallas to be successful. Better defense, they've done that. They've cut down their turnovers, only 10 in the ball game, Dan. They did give up some second-chance opportunities, but Rick Carlisle addressed it at half. They've done a much better job here in the second half with all three areas.
And let's see how they execute now on this possession. They'll likely use as much of the clock as they can. Jason Kidd, Jason Terry, Josh Howard, Brandon Bass, Dirk Nowitzki, the same 5 for Denver. Chauncey Billups, Anthony Carter has come into the game now for J.R. Smith. Carmelo Anthony, Kenyon Martin, and Nene. Into the hands of Kidd. Here comes Nowitzki. It's him and Kenyon Martin. Tough shot rebounded by Billups, and Denver will call a timeout.
This is why that foul to give is important for Dallas. You heard George Karl in one of our wires talking about play defense without fouling. Now Dallas, with only 6.5 for Denver to operate, can let him make a catch, make an initial move, and then foul him and force him to reset.
The danger, of course, is if it's a guy like Billups and he sees you coming, he gets into the shooting motion, maybe from beyond the arc, all of a sudden you're looking at 3 free throws. So it's got to be done properly by Dallas if they go that route. Denver with the ball down by 2, 6.5 seconds to play. A tough shot by Dirk Nowitzki. Give Kenyon Martin some credit for the defense he played on Dirk. Now Denver came in up 2 games to none. Dirk Nowitzki with a monster day, 33 points, and let's not forget 16 rebounds as well. Chauncey Billups everywhere in the second half. 32 points tonight for the Nuggets. And fouling out early, Chris Anderson, the Birdman, unable to have as much of an impact here tonight as he did in the first 2 games in Denver. Kenyon Martin to inbound. J.R. Smith back into the game for the Nuggets. Carmelo defended by Antoine Wright. And there's the foul. They didn't call it, and Carmelo hits it. Carmelo hits it. He hit a three.
Wow. And it looks like Antoine is pleading his case. He wanted the foul call.
He was definitely trying to foul. Rick Carlisle just said he fouled him. He fouled him before Carmelo tried to get the shot off. It was not called. Carmelo did not stop playing. He kept playing and hit an off-balance three.
He absolutely got fouled. I mean, there was an obvious bump by Antoine Wright. There's a little mishandle initially. And once he loses that, you think they're in real trouble. But then it's a little bump. He thinks it's a foul. Carmelo keeps playing through the contact, and he drills it. See, that looks to me like that's an obvious intent to foul. He goes to plead his case. Rick Carlisle blew up.
They're reviewing the play. I don't know if they're looking at whether it was a 2 or a 3. It was clearly a 3. We could see from the replay. But you've got to give Carmelo Anthony some credit too. Some guys would stop playing, but he did not stop, did not hear the whistle. Everybody else seemed to stop, and then Carmelo took the 3, and Denver improbably has a 1-point lead with a second to go. Let's get a look and a listen at that last sequence. Antoine Wright saying, I fouled him. No call. Carmelo hits the 3. Dallas ball with a second to go. Jason Kidd will inbound it for the Mavericks.
It's a catch and shot off the screen here.
Nowitzki. And Denver has taken a 3-0 lead in this series. Carmelo Anthony with an off-balance three-pointer with 1 second left. And Denver beats Dallas 106-105. Josh Howard is trying to get at the officials. Mark Cuban is livid out on the court as the frustration has boiled over for the Dallas Mavericks. The best thing the Nuggets can do is get out of here right now. Some of them are still on the court.
Looked like actually Kenyon Martin was trying to get Josh Howard to calm down.
Yeah. And tempers are continuing to flare by various members of both teams right now, started by the Mavericks. Antoine Wright is furious. Mark Cuban is furious. Josh Howard as well. And again, the best thing Denver can do is get the heck out of here. They're up 3-0. They don't want to get involved in anything right now. The Dallas Mavericks were seconds away from picking up a win, and Carmelo Anthony with a dagger, a three-pointer right at the end of the game. Denver wins by 1, 106-105. Nancy Lieberman is with Chauncey Billups.
Thank you, Dan. Chauncey, obviously a lot of emotion at the end of a big game like this. Did you know that Carmelo was not going to get fouled and he was going to play through with that three-point shot?
Well, I knew they had a foul to give. They was going to try to foul with 6 seconds left in the game. The play was designed for him to get an ISO up top with me in the corner, knowing that they probably wasn't going to help him. But, that's why he's one of the best players in the world. He had a great shot.
Your production tonight in Game 2, you only had 6 points. Why were you more aggressive tonight?
Well, I just, I try to be more aggressive on the road. We got a young team, and, the road and the crowd can be a factor with some young guys, so I try to step up and be a little more aggressive on the road.
The Mavericks in the second half took away a lot of your rebounding, your second chance points. What was the key to victory for you guys tonight?
I think just us staying with it. We knew it was going to be a hard-fought game. We knew it was going to be a fourth-quarter game. We just stayed with it. The guys were focused and locked in defensively, and we came up with a great win.
A lot of people have made the assumption that you guys are obviously a very physical team. Maybe you've intimidated the Mavericks somewhat throughout the course of this series. What is the mentality in the locker room when you come out to play them?
Well, we just want to be aggressive, no matter who the opponent is. We want to be aggressive at all times. It's been a lot of talk about us being very aggressive with this Dallas team, but we play every team the same way.
Okay, thank you very much. Dan?
All right, Nancy, thank you. This game is sure to be discussed, the final few seconds sure to be discussed for a long time. Mark Cuban, as one would imagine, given the emotion we have seen from him over the years, absolutely furious at the end of the game. It was Antoine Wright, for all appearances, Doris, trying to commit a foul. It wasn't called. Carmelo Anthony kept playing, hit the shot. The game ends, and various members of the Mavericks, to be honest with you, lose it. Josh Howard trying to get at the officials. Antoine Wright was very upset. Mark Cuban very upset. And it was Jerry Stackhouse, among others, who tried to get the Dallas players off the court before things got worse. And you can understand the frustration. This is a team that had the lead, looked like they were going to get a win and get back into this series. And then it didn't go their way. The foul attempt was not called, and Carmelo Anthony hit an incredible shot.
Yeah, and I give Carmelo credit because he played through. There was never a whistle. But obvious frustration. You had competed so hard. You were in the driver's seat if you were Dallas, excuse me. But once again, another fourth quarter closeout by the Nuggets. 4-zip to end that one on a huge shot by Carmelo.
What did you think of the foul attempt by Antoine Wright? Should it have been called a foul?
I thought it absolutely was a foul. I mean, it appeared to me that he was making a play to try to get. I kept saying they had that one foul to give, and they wanted to let him get into their first move and then foul. And that looked like what Antoine Wright was doing. Rick Carlisle exploded, so clearly the intent was there.
Needless to say, it was a very physical game. The officials had their work cut out for them today, and every time we reviewed a call, with rare exceptions, they were bang on. But the last few seconds of this game are the few seconds that are going to be talked about and talked about. There's the attempt by Antoine Wright. He was clearly reaching in to commit the foul. Dallas had a foul to give, so they wanted to commit the foul and force the Nuggets to reset. Carmelo Anthony just kept on playing, hit the shot. Dallas couldn't get a good look with 1 second left, and now Denver has a 3-0 lead in the series. No team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit to win a series in the NBA playoffs, so the Mavericks are really up against it.
Yeah, they really are, and better effort. I thought they did 3 things better. They defended better, they rebounded better, they cut their turnovers down, they were in position. But give Denver credit. Third time, they've just in the fourth quarter found a way to win. First time they were tested, they delivered.
Dallas has only lost 2 games at home in the last 3 months. They have both been to the Denver Nuggets. A wild game here today at the American Airlines Center with the Nuggets beating the Mavericks 106-105 to take a 3-0 lead in the best-of-7 Western Conference.